Welcome to Nexus. I'm Wanda Allen Abraha, the Director of the Human Relations Department. We are excited to have the opportunity to bring you today's program. The Human Relations Department enforces and encourages fair treatment and equal rights for the citizens and residents of Winston-Salem. The Human Relations Department has three key areas of responsibility. They are investigating housing discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, disability, family status, and gender, mediating landlord-tenant complaints, and conducting cultural diversity education and inclusion training and outreach. This television program is a part of our education and outreach efforts. All Nexus television programs feature community partners. During this episode, we will focus on the annual High School Student Race Relations Forum, as well as the International Village Food and Music Cultural Festival, in addition to other upcoming events. We will be speaking today with Mary Junka from the Forsyth County Public Library, as well as Mary Jo Turner, the Executive Director for the Hispanic League and a member of the Stakeholder Committee for the city's Building Integrated Communities Initiative. Now, let's join Adolfo Briceño of our staff, who will interview today's guests.
Well, thank you very much, Wanda, and thank you all for being here with us in this edition of Nexus. Our first guest of the show is Ms. Mary Junka. She's the Public Information Officer for Forsyth County Public Library. Thank you, Mary, for being with us.
Thank you.
Now we're going to be briefly talking about a little bit about what you were telling me about Forsyth County, the Central Library, and the perception of it. Tell me a little bit about how that does work with the public in your encounters with them every day.
Well, we like to think of libraries as democracy in action. So the library is everybody's place. We want to be open to everyone, and we want people in the community to see the library as a place where you can come in and exchange ideas, maybe learn something you didn't know before, and access all the wonderful resources that we have that have nothing to do with books.
Oh, really?
We've got plenty of books, but there are many other things that go on.
Like what? Give us an example.
We have all kinds of programs, foreign language classes, art classes, community conversations around difficult topics. We like working with partners to bring people in to have those conversations. You can access resources online, all kinds of databases, audiobooks, download music. There's just really a lot of information that people who grew up with going to the library to check out books don't think about.
Right, look at that. We always think about books when we think about library. I don't think we think about something else, but that was an interesting perspective. Now, there's going to be a collaboration between, talking about the other things the library does, on the topic of race relations and the Human Relations Department in Forsyth County Public Libraries. Tell us a little bit about that.
So every year since 2002, we have done a community read. It's called On the Same Page. And the library chooses a book that we think is pertinent for everyone in the community to read and discuss. And we have book club discussions, but in addition to that, we have a lot of different programs around the themes of the book that we choose. Okay. This year we've chosen Speak No Evil by Uzodimna Awala, who grew up in Washington, D.C. He divides his time now between New York City and Nigeria. And the book has a lot of really wonderful themes to it. It's a very short book. It's only about 200 pages. I started reading it over Thanksgiving last year and was hooked. So the hero is a young prep school student named Niru, who lives in Washington, D.C. He's headed to Harvard. His best friend is a white student at his prep school named Meredith. Nehru has a secret. He's gay. And as he tries to come to terms with his identity throughout the book and tries to navigate that whole world, his father's very displeased. This is not what his idea of what a strong Nigerian man is. There's I don't want to spoil it, but there's a shocking plot twist. So immediately I thought the interracial friendship angle of the book is interesting. And Neeru, the protagonist, talks a lot about how he doesn't feel he has the same leeway that his white prep school friends do. If they want to go out and get drunk and wreck their cars, they can do that. They don't have to worry about, what their parents are going to say or what the police might say. I'm going to stop this, white kid, and he doesn't feel like he has that same kind of freedom. And so there's a lot of that in the book, the back and forth between he and Meredith. And Meredith urges him to speak his truth, as she says.
Okay.
To identify as gay, to come out to his family and friends. And that decision has a lot of consequences.
Look at that. So when is this race relation forums going to take place?
It's going to be on Wednesday evening, September 25th, from 6 to 8 at Central Library in the auditorium. There are going to be students, a couple of students from each high school. And so we're working with the Human Relations Commission to put that together.
Got it. So they're going to be discussing this book? Is that more or less the idea of the program?
Certainly the book is the background for that, but the theme is Friends Not Foes, the opportunities for forging interracial friendships as a way to bridge America's racial divide.
That's interesting. How do you think, what kind of impact you would like to see on these young individuals when they engage in these discussions? Well, is there something that you foresee?
Well, I think a lot of us want to have interracial friendships, but a lot of the forums and things you go to, we're so divided. We go to church often in different places, we shop, we live in, separate, and so to have an authentic exchange is really rather difficult in our culture. I think schools and workplaces, I've had two close friendships with African American women, both when I was in my 20s. One lived across the hall from me and one worked with me, and it was only through that casual daily interaction that taught me more than any reading or any discussion I'd been to. I really saw things up close, and it was an eye-opening experience for me. And I hope that people that attend the panel will get some ideas from these young people, maybe be inspired, because they're in school where they often have a chance to make those kind of friendships.
Right. So, and to wrap up, Mary, do you think when you see race relations in the next 20, 30 years, what do you see happening with very young kids? The young kids now, they are on their phones, they're social media savvy. Do you think that's going to change the course of race relations in this country, just that alone, or something else has to be put in the mix?
No, I think the old-fashioned human relation has to happen, and I think it's those one-on-one or those small group conversations. It's walking, being out somewhere with a friend in another city, an African American friend, and seeing her flinch because she sees the Confederate flag, which I was raised to think was just kind of a quaint relic. I grew up north. It said the South to me, but to see how that hurt her, that's a very different experience than just exchanging pleasantries on social media. And I think social media is great, but I think that the true progress that you make in the world is through those close relationships that you build that allow you to see what your differences, but what your commonalities are too.
I understand. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Mary. So this event will be September the 25th, Wednesday, here in the Central Library.
Central Library Auditorium.
Is this open to the public?
It is open to the public. It's free, and we hope everyone that's interested will turn out.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for the information. This was Mary Giunca. She's the Public Information Officer for Forsyth County Public Library. They will have, as you heard, Race Relations Forum in conjunction with the Human Relations Department on September the 25th. It's a Wednesday in Forsyth County Public Library here in downtown Winston. From 6 to 8, it's open to the public. I hope you can join us there. Thank you very much for your time, Ms. Giunca. Thank you very much for your attention, and we'll be back with our second segment of Nexus TV.
Open the door.
Open the door.
Open the door.
Fair housing is for everyone. If you think you've been discriminated against, call 311 and ask for the Winston-Salem Human Relations Department. Fair housing, it's the law.
Well, thank you very much for still being with us. In this second segment of Nexus TV, we have Mary Jo Turner. She is the Executive Director of the Hispanic League here in Winston-Salem in Forsyth County. Thank you very much, Mary Jo, for your time. And we're going to be talking a little bit, Mary Jo, about the events that are coming up in this very festive month of September, yes, right? Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the events that the community here in Winston and Forsyth County in general are going to be seeing in September.
Well, I always think September is fabulous because we have the trifecta of events that happen in the month of September. First, we have this month on the 7th will be Bookmarks Festival, yes, which places right downtown, and that's amazing. I hope everyone comes down for that. The second one this year is going to be Fiesta, which the Hispanic League sponsors, and then the third one, of course, is the International Village. So because I'm with the Hispanic League, I'll share a little bit more about what Fiesta is going to be. It's a free event, and we do it from 11 in the morning to 7 in the evening. We kick it off with a naturalization ceremony. It's going to be in the Haynes-Brand Theater. And then we have activities throughout the day. 3 stages of entertainment, children's area, healthy living. We have some amazing entertainers that are coming this year. We have Marlo Rosado, who is from Puerto Rico and Miami, who is coming in early and going to perform and practice with Winston-Salem State University's jazz ensemble, and they will actually be the ones that are backing him up on the main stage and performing with them. And then a little bit later we have Shea Apalache. Shea Apalache is actually flying in from Argentina. And they're coming in early, and it's a partnership with the Winston-Salem Foundation. They are going to help be performing at Philo Hill Middle School, and they'll be doing 3 performances there. And they're just a delightful group. Appalachian is sort of Latin music and little Appalachian music to combine together. So that will be very entertaining. And then later in the day, we have a group called Flor de Toloche, and they're from New York City. It's an all-female mariachi group. And they will just give a sneak preview around 4 p.m. in the afternoon on the main stage. But then we're partnering with the UNC School of the Arts, and they'll have a real performance at 7:30 p.m. at the Stevens Center, and those tickets are on sale now. So if anybody wants to come and enjoy that full performance, they will have to pay for that. But the rest of Fiesta, of course, is free. I would also like to mention our healthy living area. We have that each year. We work with the health department. They usually try to have free flu vaccines for the whole community. Last year we were very fortunate, and they gave 1 free flu vaccine about every 3 minutes. So if you're looking like you want to have some, healthy backgrounds done, they'll do some checks on you. Novant will be there doing those type of things, as well as Haynes-Brand will probably be there giving out free T-shirts again. There's just a number of different organizations and businesses that will be there. We have about 70 vendors this year. And I forgot to mention the food. The food is authentic Latin food. We'll have probably between 16 and 20 vendors again this year. Just come hungry. That's all I can say, because you will enjoy it. And of course, you've probably been there and enjoyed the pupusas and the tacos. I think that the secret of Fiesta is that people do not go to see the performers, they go to eat, I think, right? Yeah, and you go in waves. You can come early and have lunch, stick around, go to the dance competition, work off the calories, and then have dinner. That is awesome. Now, so these multicultural events are trying to showcase, the diversity of nationalities here in Winston-Salem. In October, there's also going to be a newcomer symposium that the Human Relations Department will organize. Tell me, Mary Jo, how does this tie with these events that you already mentioned? Well, the Hispanic League has been very fortunate. We were part of the beginning of Building Integrated Communities, which started in 2014, and we've been a part of that over the years. They actually did surveys and spoke to the immigrant community here to find out what are the specific needs that we have in our community and how can we address those. Instead of telling people what we think they need, we listen to them and help them to find out what their true needs were. And through a pipeline that we have done, we've done a number of listening sessions and brought together people from all different parts of our community. There's education, there's health, there's the faith community, and we bring all those different groups together to help address some of those needs. And what grew out of that now has been this Newcomer Symposium. This will be the second year doing it. It's going to be October 17th at Forsyth Tech Community College. Reverend David Porcaro from the International House Faith Action International House in Greensboro would be the keynote speaker. There is a charge for that, and I believe you can go to the City of Winston-Salem's website and find out more information about that. But that's just been a great way for us to reach out and embrace the diversity of our community. In case you don't know, there's 92 languages spoken in Forsyth County schools, so we really have to put our arms out wide and bring in everyone and help them to understand who we all are.
Yeah, in your daily activity, Mario, you probably find the two extremes: those who embrace this diversity and those who try to, resist it. To those who are in that field of resistance, is there something that you can tell them, or that we can tell them, to try to ease that anxiety?
Wow, that's one of those tough questions. So. Part of what we do with the Hispanic League is we have our community resource program where we have resources available for families who are in need. We either lead, connect, or provide resources for people in the community. So if there was a family that needed food, for example, we don't have food there at the Hispanic League, but we can make a referral to, for example, Christ Beloved Community, which has a Spanish-speaking food pantry. Or if they needed some other types of resources, Perla Hilton, who's our community resource coordinator, would be able to connect them to who the Spanish-speaking group might be that could support them. But I think one of the best things that we've been doing is trying to build bridges back to the community. It's important for the Hispanic Latino community to understand where they live, but I also think it's important for the broader community to understand those different cultures. We have 22 different countries represented in the Hispanic Latino community, and it's about 17% of our population. So what I'm hoping is that when you come to Fiesta or you go to one of our concerts or any of the activities that we've talked about, you're going to sit down next to someone that doesn't look like you and start having a conversation and find out, you know what, we really have a lot more in common than I thought.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much for Mary Jo. So just to reiterate, Fiesta is going to be
Fiesta is the 14th of September.
The 14th of September,
yes.
Okay.
And it's right downtown. If you know where the Milton Road Center for the Arts is, Haynesbrand Theater, it's behind the Lowy Building on 4th Street. We close off all the streets around there.
I remember several years ago, we had to pay admission. I think it was $2 or $3. But I think you guys did away with that many years ago.
Well, that changed when I became executive director about 8 years ago, because I didn't want there to be a barrier for anyone to understand why we are here in the community. So it's a free event. We have a phone app this year, which is new, so you can actually go online and see a map and figure out where you want to go, and I help point you in that direction. We'll have a list of all the different activities that are happening throughout the day, and there's a survey, and if you take that survey and bring the completed survey, I don't know, I think it's like a QR code or something like that, to the Hispanic League booth, you can get a free T-shirt.
That is awesome. Well, thank you, Mary Jo. Yes.
I have one other thing, and we are in need of volunteers.
Okay.
It takes about 400 volunteers for us to do Fiesta each year, so You can go online to HispanicLeague.org, and you'll see a button there to follow through and sign up to volunteer with us.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Mary Jo. This was Mary Jo Turner. She's the Executive Director of the Hispanic League here in Forsyth County. Thank you for your time. And you heard it, folks. Fiesta is going to be the 14th of September in downtown Winston. The Newcomer Symposium is going to be the 17th of October on Forsyth Tech. And you can go to Fiesta to be a volunteer or to enjoy yourselves with events and the food that they will have. And there's going to be an app, right?
Yes, exactly. And you can, it's for Droids and Apple, so you can, doesn't matter what kind of phone you have, hopefully you can download it.
There's not going to be no excuse. And if you're an Apple user, you'll have the app. If you're an Android user, you'll have the app.
Exactly.
Well, thank you again. And thank you very much for staying with us. And we'll go now with Jamie and the Nexus Challenge.
Thanks, Adolfo. I'm Jamie Waldeck, and this is the Nexus Challenge, where we test your knowledge about fair housing laws. Here's our first question. What should a landlord do if a resident complains about discriminatory comments that he should go back to Mexico made by another resident in the complex? Should he A, do nothing? A landlord cannot be held liable for comments made by residents. B, warn the resident to stop bothering the property manager with neighborhood squabbles. Or C, investigate, and if warranted, take steps to address the problem. The answer is C. Although courts disagree over whether a landlord may or may not be responsible for stopping resident discrimination, it's a good idea to investigate since landlords could face potential liability, especially if the problem were to escalate. Here's our next question. If a person is using a real estate agent to sell her home and refuses an offer because of the buyer's national origin, who may file a federal lawsuit against the seller? Is it A, the prospective buyer, B, the real estate agent, C, the federal government, or D, all of the above? The answer is D, all of the above. National origin is protected under the Fair Housing Act. Therefore, any discrimination during the selling and buying process is prohibited. Anyone who has knowledge of this is able to file a suit. And here's our last question. Based on federal fair housing law, which of the following people would be protected? Is it A, a divorced female single parent, B, a 35-year-old single Muslim man, C, a 50-year-old white man, or D, all of the above? The answer is D, all of the above. Everyone is protected by the Federal Fair Housing Act as long as the discrimination is based on one of the 7 protected classes: race, color, religion, sex, disability, family status, and national origin. And that's this month's Nexus Challenge. I'm Jamie Waldeck. Now let's go back to Wanda.
Thank you, Jamie. Before we go, here's a look at some upcoming events. We hope you enjoyed the program. Thank you for watching Nexus. I'm Wanda Allen Abraha. See you next time.